Welcome to this explainer. It's so incredibly easy to walk around carrying this heavy guilt, believing we're just naturally bad at saving money, or maybe we're a little lazy, or we simply lack the willpower to stop spending. But as we dive into our sources today, we're going to uncover something totally different. We're going to expose the invisible, highly engineered systems that are actively working against us every single day. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on the 8 hidden money traps that are silently draining your wealth. Just think about this for a second. You haven't failed. You've been defeated by a multi-billion-dollar engineering effort. Let that really sink in. I want to immediately take that guilt you've been carrying and just toss it out the window. When you see a sales sign and eagerly click buy, that is not a personal failure. No, it's actually the victory of a massive army of data scientists and psychologists, and they are paid extremely well to do exactly one job: extract money from your pocket and magically teleport it onto their company's balance sheet, usually without you even noticing. They know exactly when you're exhausted after a long day at the office or maybe just bored scrolling on a Sunday evening, and boom, that's precisely when the notification hits.
All right, let's get right into it with Section 1, the system against you, covering traps 1 through 3.
$5 billion. That is a massive chunk of money, right? And it represents an entire industry totally obsessed with a single goal: removing the friction from your spending. Think about how things used to be. Back in the day, you had to physically open your wallet, count out your cash, and physically hand it to someone. That little bit of friction gave your brain just enough time to pause and ask, wait, do I actually need this? But today, we've got one-click checkouts. We've got these slick buy now, pay later schemes that magically disguise a ridiculously expensive phone as a harmless little payment of, say, 999 rupees a week. By removing that friction, they trap us in impulse buys, making it incredibly easy to casually blow thousands of rupees a month on stuff we don't even need. If you had just dropped that same cash into an index fund, you'd literally be building a massive retirement fund. Instead, it's swallowed up by a corporate advertising budget. Which brings us to trap number 2, payment decoupling. And listen, this is where even the absolute smartest people get caught, especially when it comes to credit card rewards. You swipe your card and suddenly the app is throwing digital confetti at you, telling you that you just earned 2% cash back. In a split second, your brain completely ignores the pain of losing money. Instead, it feels the rush of winning a prize. You genuinely feel like you're beating the system, but it's a trap. The psychological disconnect totally tricks you. To save 500 rupees in cash back, you often end up buying 5,000 rupees worth of extra stuff you never even planned to get. The banks absolutely know that you think you're being clever, and they use that exact confidence against you. And the data on this is honestly kind of shocking. Because of this decoupling effect, research shows that people using reward credit cards spend up to 15 to 18% more than people who strictly stick to debit cards or cash. Just think about that. You are spending nearly 20% more of your hard-earned wealth just chasing imaginary points. At the end of the day, the house always wins, and your wealth is just silently bleeding away. Okay, moving on to trap number 3. Companies have figured out that selling you a product once just isn't lucrative enough anymore. They want to turn you into a permanent tenant in their ecosystem. Welcome to the set it and forget it effect. You sign up for a subscription, maybe it's just 499 rupees, no big deal, right? At first, it's a conscious choice, but before long, your brain reclassifies it as a fixed utility cost, just like your electricity or water bill. And notice how incredibly frictionless it is to subscribe, literally one tap. But when you try to cancel, suddenly you're navigating 4 different confusing screens, dealing with emotional blackmail about everything you'll miss out on, and maybe even forced to call a customer retention hotline where someone begs you to stay. That friction is 100% deliberate. They make the process so exhausting that you'll just throw your hands up and let them keep taking your money. The real danger here is that we are terrible at tracking this. Research tells us that people consistently underestimate their monthly subscription costs by a staggering 50%. So you might confidently think you're only spending 2,000 rupees a month on various streaming apps and software, but in reality, you're actually bleeding 4,000 rupees. It's like a completely invisible leak right at the bottom of your financial ship. Let's shift gears to Section 2, the illusions of success and safety. These are traps 4 through 7. Trap number 4 is a big one: lifestyle inflation. Here's how it usually goes down. You finally get that big promotion, your salary goes up, and what happens next? It's like the car dealers and real estate agents have a sixth sense for it. You start feeling like you deserve that upgraded lifestyle: the bigger, flashier car, the fancier apartment, dining out at expensive spots every single weekend. You think, hey, this is what success looks like. But let's compare that illusion to reality. If at age 30 you took just 10,000 rupees of that new salary bump and invested it instead of feeding your lifestyle, you could comfortably build a 2 crore rupee retirement fund. The system totally traps you by making you believe that an expensive dinner is the ultimate proof you've made it, which permanently caps your actual, true wealth. Next up is trap number 5, famously known in psychology as the ostrich effect. Be honest, have you ever received a thick, formal-looking envelope from your bank or a digital financial statement and you just left it unopened because simply looking at it gave you a knot in your stomach? Well, you are definitely not alone. The financial industry intentionally creates these 80-page documents packed with microscopic print and ridiculously confusing jargon. They actually want you to feel overwhelmed. They want you to believe it's way too complex for a normal person to understand, so you just bury your head in the sand and leave your money completely in their hands. And the cost of playing the ostrich and burying your head in the sand? It's absolutely terrifying.
Because you are too intimidated to check under the hood, the industry quietly siphons off your money. Studies show that an average investor can lose up to 40% of their entire portfolio simply to hidden fees, management charges, and being parked in completely the wrong funds. Your fear and your confusion are exactly what pays for their massive corporate profit margins.
Now brace yourself for trap number 6, the minimum due scam. I honestly think this is perhaps the greatest legal scam operating in the world today. When you get your monthly credit card bill, there's always that helpful little box highlighting your minimum due. It looks like they're doing you a solid, right? Like a nice convenience. It is absolutely not. If you have a bill of 1 lakh rupees and you decide to only pay that minimum amount, it will take you roughly 20 to 25 years to clear that debt. Let me repeat that, 2.5 decades. And by the time you're finally done, you will have paid 3 times the original amount in pure interest. Decades ago, banks actually demanded much higher monthly payments, but then they realized that by lowering the minimum due, they could legally chain you to bank debt for a quarter of a century. It's not a convenience, it's a perfectly laid trap.
Trap number 7 is sneaky because it preys entirely on your need for safety. You keep your hard-earned money in a basic savings account because, well, it feels secure, right? But here's the reality check. A basic savings account might give you a nice, safe 3% return. But the inflation rate, which is just the speed at which everyday things are getting more expensive, is sitting at around 6%. This means you are silently losing 3% of your actual purchasing power every single year. Meanwhile, what's the bank doing? They're taking your safe money and immediately loaning it out to other people at 12% to 15%, keeping that massive difference entirely for themselves. They will never openly tell you your real inflation-adjusted rate of return, because if you knew your money was quietly rotting away in their vault, you'd move it out today.
And that leads us to section 3, the ultimate cost, our final hurdle, trap number 8. Oh, I have plenty of time. I'm young. I'll figure out this investing thing later. We've all said it, or at least thought it. But here's the secret. That thought doesn't actually come from you. It's a narrative pushed by a consumer system that desperately wants you to spend everything you have today. In the financial world, time is literally your absolute greatest superpower. If you wait to start investing at age 35 instead of age 25, you aren't just losing 10 years on a calendar. Because of the sheer magic of compounding, which heavily favors the later years of an investment, delaying by just one single decade cuts your future compounded wealth completely in half. Procrastinating here isn't just a harmless habit. It is actively surrendering your financial future. Okay, take a deep breath. Section 4, your escape plan.
Look, I know hearing all of this laid out can feel incredibly heavy, but remember what we established right at the beginning. You haven't failed. You are simply playing a high-stakes game where the rules were totally hidden from you. But now you see the architecture of the traps, which means it is time for your escape plan. You absolutely have the power to break out of this rigged system today. And the best part? Escaping doesn't require some fancy master's degree in finance. It just requires immediate, actionable steps to put the friction back into your spending. Step 1. Audit your bank statement today, right after this explainer, and brutally cancel any subscription you aren't actively using. Step 2. Automate your investments. Set it up so your money gets invested the exact same day your salary hits your account. Completely bypass your brain's opportunity to even think about spending it. And step 3. Go into all your favorite shopping apps right now and delete your saved credit card information. Nuke the one-click checkouts, force yourself to actually get up, go find your physical wallet, and manually type in those 16 digits every single time. I want to leave you with this really powerful thought. Don't try to change the system, change your environment. Relying on pure brute force willpower against a $5 billion psychological machine is a losing battle every single time. You don't need more willpower, guys, you just need a better environment. By dismantling their engineered architecture, by purposely adding friction to your spending, and fully automating your saving, you fundamentally flip the script. Suddenly, money stops flowing away from you and starts compounding towards you. The game has just begun, and now you've got the playbook. So I want you to look really closely at your own financial habits today. Which of these 8 hidden traps do you find yourself falling for the absolute most? Is it those frictionless one-click impulse buys? Is it the ostrich effect keeping you from opening your statements? Be brutally honest with yourself. Pick the one that's draining you the most right this second and dismantle it today. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I'll see you next time as we continue to uncover the hidden systems that shape our world. Until then, keep learning and keep growing.